Welcome back. I'm Vidar Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX. In the past 3 weeks alone, reports indicated that at least 6 Hindus have been brutally killed in Bangladesh amidst a wave of targeted violence against the minority community. Homes torched, temples vandalized, families terrorized, yet the world remains eerily silent. No viral hashtags, no celebrity condemnations, no international protests. Contrast this with a vocal outcry from certain quarters over issues like Gaza or India's farmers' protests years ago. Where are those voices now is the big question. Why such a deafening silence? Well, Greta Thunberg, remember, once declared we cannot take our eyes away from Gaza, from all the places of the world that are suffering. Congo, Sudan, Afghanistan, Gaza, and many, many more. She was loud, passionate, and unrelenting in drawing global attention to these crises. But today, as Hindus in Bangladesh endure horrific violence, killing, arson, and fear, Greta's eyes, it seems, are shut. No posts, no statements, no urgency. Well, is the suffering of the Hindus in Bangladesh not worthy of a statement, is the big question. Meanwhile, pop icon Rihanna, she also had made headlines worldwide when she tweeted about India's farmers' protests. Why aren't we talking about this? Farmers' protest is what she had said, amplifying the issue to millions overnight. Yet now, with real bloodshed against minorities in Bangladesh, Rihanna has nothing to say, it seems. It seems these are cases of selective activism. Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, he'd also weighed in heavily on India's farmers. I would be remiss if I didn't start by recognizing the news coming from India about the protest by farmers. The situation is concerning. We're all very worried about family and friends, quote unquote, is what he had said then. Fast forward to today, absolute silence from Trudeau on the targeted killings of Hindus in Bangladesh. Meanwhile, US Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has been very outspoken on Gaza. She stated the genocide of the people of Gaza continues. This is immoral and no amount of excuses will ever make it okay, quote unquote. But the ongoing attacks on the Bangladesh Hindu community, it seems there is silence from Omar on this. New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani, he's called for justice, saying we must work towards a future built upon justice where every person can live with safety and dignity, quote unquote. These are noble words, but not, it seems, for the Hindus fleeing violence in Bangladesh. Mamdani has conveniently ignored their crisis. Well, at the end of the day, remember, if human rights do matter, they should matter for everyone and everywhere. Joining us live, Ambassador Veena Sikri, former diplomat. We also have Major General A.K. Sewaj, former Chief of Territorial Army, live with us. Rashmi Samant, author and activist, joins us live. Mithun Vijay Kumar, author and activist, is also with us live on the broadcast. There is this curious silence amongst the very outspoken individuals, Ambassador Sikri, who speak out on Gaza, on farmers' protests, on other human rights abuses. But why this silence on the Hindus of Bangladesh?
Well, I think that we need to ask them this question directly, because we need to also have a clear position on this. Our spokesman made a very strong statement a few days ago, talking at the end of December. He said that 2,900 incidents against minorities have been recorded since July, August of 2024. And this shows that it's a rampant, widespread, deliberately done campaign. And I would like to draw a parallel between this campaign that is now going on since 5th of August 2024, because that's the first we saw of it. The moment Sheikh Hasina's plane had barely left Dhaka on 5th of August 24, when two things happened. The Awami League headquarters, anything to do with Sheikh Mujib or Sheikh Hasina were targeted, and the second target were the minorities. Absolutely all the Hindus, the Buddhists, the Christians, Sufis, Ahmadiyas, the raping, the killings, lynchings, burning of property, destroying of houses, forcing people to resign their jobs, absolutely turning them into, a group of people who have no rights at all. And of course, at that time, we must say that to the credit of the minority community, and especially the younger generation, that they stood their ground and they said that we will not leave Bangladesh. This is our country, we are citizens, and we want our rights. And in fact, one of their leaders, Chinmoy Das, as we all know, he did make a very simple charter of demands for the Yunus regime, but it was completely ignored. And Chinmoy Das has been in jail for the last 1 year, more than 1 year, well over 1 year, with no charges, no bail, no trial, nothing. And this is the fate of many people in Bangladesh, including the media. Well-known journalists have been charged with murder and thrown into jail, including Awami Leaguers, everybody. So it's a dire situation, and I think that if we compare it to what happened from 25th of March 1971, 26th of March 1971, then we have to see that it's a similar kind of genocidal attack on the minorities. Of course, in Bangladesh, they will say, oh, but then everybody, there's general lawlessness. Then why are you allowing elections to be held in this spirit of general lawlessness? Who is going to, be able to vote when you have, even mob lynchings in general throughout 2025 have been recorded at about 200. So it's just a mobocracy. It's not a regime. It's not a constitutional government. It's just a mobocracy. They just turn the mobs on like water, on and off. And the targeting of the Hindus in the last, the last 6 or 7 lynchings and killings, beginning with Deepu Chandra Das and now going on with Amrit Mandal and now Kokon Das and all the others, have been so bestial and so cruel. It's inhuman. You cannot imagine that in the 21st century civilized way of living that we are supposed to all follow, that these kind of killings are being allowed with impunity. I mean, for Deepu Chandra Das, they said, oh yeah, we've done something, but there's nothing. They just arrest a few people, release them on bail the next day, and say that action has been taken. There's never been an FIR filed on any of these cases. And, even on these other killings, many of them we know are another, unacceptable practice that has come into Bangladesh over the last 18 months in much greater strength is the charging of a kind of jizya. Amrit Mandal, they called him an extortionist, but actually he was being extortion. He was being asked to pay jizya tax. And when he didn't pay it, then of course he was killed. And that is happening to many people as well. So I think these things need to be called out very strongly. If it's happening for election purposes, whatever it's happening for, it has to be called out, because such barbaric and continuous view on the minorities cannot be allowed to persist. In July, August last year, they said we will stay. The minority said we will stay. Now they're in complete fear. Now they're in complete fear. They want to leave. They want to run away. They're almost 2 crore people. And can we imagine if 2 crore people, just want to leave suddenly? What is going to happen? So I think that we really need to be very not only alert, but we need to very, conscious of this, and we need to call it out. Why hasn't Tariq Rahman said anything about the killings of the minorities? Why hasn't he said something about the mob lynchings? He's completely quiet. And he meets Dr. Jaishankar the one day, the next day he meets the head of Jamaat-e-Islami. So, he's putting all his bets on all the horses, everything all around, and keeping very quiet, thinking that, that
Yes.
that'll give him the votes, and then he'll become prime minister.
No, these are very concerning developments. These are very concerning developments, of course, Major Sivaj, but the global silence is deafening. The global silence is now getting very upsetting as well. Why is this?
See, they're unfortunate, and no doubt about it. What happened in Bangladesh was not a student movement itself. It was basically orchestrated by the deep state of US, and that's how the things happened. The Sheikh Hasina was elected prime minister, and she done an extremely good job in last 15 years. In fact, the economy of Bangladesh was looking up. The textile industry was doing extremely well, but this, was not to the liking of US deep state, because she refused to part way with Saint Martin Island to give it to the US. But now after that, what has happened after Sheikh Hasina has come and taken so-called asylum in India, and now the situation is deteriorated badly in last about, you can say those period from August 2024 to now, almost 3,000 cases have taken place against Hindus and other minorities. Now, as on today, you can say that minorities are the one which are badly affected. One should remember when India Pakistan got independent in 1971, there were 23% minority, that is basically Hindus. In Bangladesh, it reduced to almost 14% by 1971. And after Bangladesh was formed, now it has reduced to almost 7 to 8%. Now, where is this Hindus have gone? Either they have been killed, or they have been converted, or they have left that place. So the point today is the condition of minorities in Bangladesh is pathetic. No one is speaking against that. The point is, all this champion of human right violations all over the world is quiet, and this is what is puzzling, and this is also very disheartening as far as Indians are concerned. The people in Bangladesh is saying, where is the place for minority to go? I think India should step up now, and if they are the one, if they have been killed and brutally tortured and their women are being raped now, I think we should raise a hand and we should give them, a space and place for them to come in India, because they are not going to get justice in Bangladesh. It seemingly looks, why they are doing. Now let's see that. It's Muhammad Yunus government is directly involved. Today, it is who's calling the shot? Jamaat-e-Islami, Ansar Islam, and Bangladesh Mujahideen. And these are the radical elements, the same element which once upon a side taken the side of the Pakistani when the lot of atrocities were done on Bangladesh people itself in 1971, and that was in Operation Searchlight. But today, they are one which are calling the shot. Anti-India sentiments downright, anti-minority sentiments are increasing day by day. Hindus are killed brutally. This was the sixth murder. I suppose this is the time for the whole world to wake up. None of them are speaking, like you said, Joran Mamdani. He has spoken about Venezuela. That's very nice. He's spoken, but why is he quiet about Hindus in Bangladesh? Why other personalities which were champion of human rights has spoken about Gaza? Why they are now quiet about Hindus? No, this is something disheartening, and we have to also now push our case. Diplomacy has to play a major role. But to me, it looks like Uday, the Hindus are vulnerable now in Bangladesh, and India should step forward. We must make a space for them, because they
Okay.
are going to become. What has happened in Pakistan? Just 1 minute. What happened in Pakistan? 22% when
Yes.
1947. Today it is less than 1%. This
Yes.
is going to happen in Bangladesh if we don't take a step
Stern
forward.
action and steps now. Okay, Rashmi Samant, the fact is the usual suspects, Greta Thunberg, Rihanna, Justin Trudeau, they would have a lot to say on many issues. Not just one, not just two issues, but many issues. But why then this silence on the Hindus in Bangladesh? It isn't like it's just one. It isn't like it's just two. It's happened over multiple weeks to multiple minorities now. Getting a lot of, I'm sure, global attention, not as much as it should, but there has been media coverage over it. But still, not a word from these individuals, from these
Well,
celebrities.
Uday, firstly, I think that people are very naive to think that all sorts of activism that happens out there in the world, be it statements by different prominent leaders elected into office or so-called activists who are given primetime platform, is in fact genuine. I think that is a misconceived notion by many well-meaning people in society. It is very unfortunate, but the reality is, to till date, that a lot of the activism is very selective. You will find very few people who would stand for principle. And these are unfortunately, common people like me and you who cannot really cause the kind of difference that bigger activists end of the day can. So I mean, it comes with a tinge of with a huge dose of hypocrisy. It comes with selectivism. All of the activism that has happened in the past and so far has been extremely selective. The people whose hearts bleed for minorities in Kashmir will never bleed for Kashmiri pundits. They will not dare to talk about this plight of Hindus in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, or today in Bangladesh, just because it does not suit their wider agenda. Just to think that this sort of activism is based on principle and that it is unbiased is extremely foolish. And I think under such circumstances it's very imperative for Hindus, for well-meaning Hindus, to look out for their own community, because expecting neutral platforms to expect the so-called neutral platforms to intervene on our behalf is just futile. We've known this time and again. We've known what's happened to. I mean, there's actually a video there. There's a video of a Hindu woman being humiliated in present day Bangladesh, and a similar parallel can be drawn to, the humiliation, the rape of Hindu women during the liberation of East Pakistan. And it's similar. Nothing's changed. So many decades on, you would think that the world's moved forward. We've got AI, we are a more developed nation, but no, the barbarity, the inhuman treatment that the Hindus are getting is just the same, and the silence from the world is also same. There's literally no difference. I think it's just time for our community, seriously, the leaders of our community, to stop hiding behind comments from the rest of the world, to stop caring about so-called political correctness in the comments that follow Hindu activism, and to take a strong stance. I mean, there have been many leaders like Tulsi Gabbard who in the past have taken a stance for Bangladeshi Hindus. Today they're silent. We have important Hindus in very influential positions. We have Kash Patel. We have so many Hindus across the world leading nations. We have a deputy prime minister, I think, in Fiji. We have Hindus in very influential positions. I think it's up to us to really shed this so-called, this kind of political correctness that we try to put on, because people blame us for Hindu activism, and to really take on the mantle. Because if we don't speak for our community, nobody will. Mamdani will speak for his community. Ilhan Omar will speak for her community. They will speak on issues which are convenient for them. Greta Thunberg will speak for people who can pay her. So will Rihanna. But I think end of the day, it's our community, it's our brothers and sisters. And if we let this kind of rampant barbarity to go on, then what is to say that it won't happen to us tomorrow? So at least in the interest of self-preservation, Hindus today should raise their voices from different parts of the world, from any point of privilege that they do have. Because what's happening over there is that, more so than not, all of the perpetrators of these crimes in Bangladesh, you can see them so emboldened that they're making open declarations of their crimes on video, because they know that there are going to be no consequences. Today, the persecution of Hindus in Bangladesh has been reduced to spectator sports by Muhammad Yunus, because there is no consequence. You can literally get away with it. So I mean, end of the day, it's just spectator sports, and it's a sort of hunting game for those who are fundamentally
Yes,
radicalized.
yes,
So, and that's what is to say it won't spread to the rest of the world.
absolutely.
So
But why this selectivism? Why this selectivism, Mithun Vijay Kumar? And don't they get exposed by this kind of selectivism now? Should people see through them now? And the agendas and other issues at play?
See, Uday, the global humanitarian voices, they go silent when it comes to Hindu lives. That's a trend that we have seen, be it Justin Trudeau or anyone. Justin Trudeau is quick to comment on the internal matters of other countries, often citing minority rights and freedom of expression. Yet, when it comes to incidents of violence against Hindus in Bangladesh, his government remains silent. This proves that for leaders like Trudeau, human rights is not a universal principle but a political tool. They speak up only when it suits their domestic vote bank. And when Hindus are murdered and women are raped, why does the champion of human rights suddenly lose his voice? That is something the global community should ask. And same with the case of Greta Thunberg. She claims to represent the conscience of the youth. She speaks about climate justice, but where is the justice for Sharad Chakrabarti's 12-year-old son? Where is her post about the 95% literate youth of Bangladesh turning into a radical mob? This selective outrage shows that global activists only care about issues that are trending in the West. If it doesn't fit their narrative of oppressor versus oppressed, they just ignore it. And to people like Greta, a plastic straw is a crisis, but the genocide of minority is not worth a tweet. And the same is the case of liberals in India also, Uday. They are also silent. And the silence of liberals basically comes from an ideological blind spot. For decades, the liberal narrative has been built on protecting the minority against the majority, right? But in the context of Bangladesh, the Hindu is the minority being crushed by a radical majority. And for many liberals, that is not, they're not able to comprehend it because they are silent. It doesn't fit their pre-written script. They're afraid that if they speak up for Hindus in Bangladesh, it will somehow weaken their political arguments in India. So this is selective, secularism and it's intellectual dishonesty. So if you are liberal, This is the time you should speak up. Protect the vulnerable, regardless of their geography or their religion. And the real problem is that when Hindus are attacked, India's voice actually splits into half. You know why? Because we have been taught to be politically correct even when people are dying. And being politically correct in this country means ignoring Hindus. So, when other groups are hurt, the whole country stands up, be it Palestine, the recent Venezuela issue, or any country in any part of the world, we speak up. But our liberals will come out on the streets and protest for Gaza, issues in Gaza. But when a Hindu is killed in our neighborhood in Bangladesh, some of our own intellectuals start making excuses. They say, it was just a local fight. It is about politics, not religion. These are their excuses. And we must not forget that there is a deep state game going on. These killings are not accidents. They are a way to poke and tease India. It is happening because the people in charge in Bangladesh right now, they are looking the other way. And radical groups supported by Pakistan's ISI, they are using this chaos to win back the power they lost years ago. And even bigger powers like CIA might be involved because they want a leader in Dhaka who follows their orders, not one who's friendly with India. And that's what they have now. Yunus
Yes.
is like the agent of CIA operating in Bangladesh.
No,
They're
but
using the blood
regardless of
innocent
regardless of whether this change will happen, and whether this conscience will finally awaken, which it looks unlikely, of some of these individuals we've already mentioned, Ambassador Sikri, how do we go about bringing about more global attention to the plight of Hindus in Bangladesh?
I think, first of all, we have to call it out ourselves. We are doing it. I said the spokesman had put a statement end of December, but we have to go on doing it and go on bringing it to the attention of people all over the world. The Bangladesh media itself is a completely controlled, silent, and dormant media. They're not reporting any of this. So, the Western countries, they're hiding behind this, like, oh, the Bangladesh media is not writing about it. It's not an issue in the Bangladesh media. They know very well that Yunus, his third target after Awami League and minorities was the media. That he has just taken over all the media houses. He controls all the boardrooms. He does not allow them to write a word. In fact, I understand from many media people in Bangladesh that even the word Sheikh Hasina cannot be printed in any media unless the word fascist is added before it. If you don't add the word fascist, you cannot even talk about Sheikh Hasina. So, this is the kind of a situation that has been created, the kind of atmosphere that is prevailing of complete fear, of complete control. And of course, the fact, as General Swade said, that this is seen as one country being behind this, working through Pakistan. And Pakistan is trying to take control of Bangladesh in the mode of pre-1971. They are creating a Bangladesh which they want to have full control over. Every word, every action, and that's what Pakistan is doing. But this is being acquiesced with. When even the Bangladesh army is being embedded with the Pakistan army officers, brigadiers, and so on, and the trade restrictions, visa restrictions, everything has been removed. So Bangladesh is all set. Pakistan thinks that Bangladesh is all set for their complete control very soon after the elections happen. So that is why the elections are important, because we have to continue to insist on free, fair, and inclusive elections. This also we have done several times. And I think that we should continue to insist on that. But without that, with this kind of a fixed election with just the Jamaat and the Awami League, it's not going to get anywhere. They're both hand in glove. They were partners, in the last time when the BNP was in power.
Okay.
And they continue to have close alliances with each other. So
Yes.
we have to look at all those things. But above all, this is such a huge human rights issue. I don't see how we can.
How can India raise this further? Major General Sivach, what role can India play as well in raising this further globally?
Uday, what I think is we have to be more aggressive in our diplomacy also. We have to give the warning to Bangladesh, because no one else is going to fight our own battle. The point today is we are talking about it should be free, fair, and inclusive election. How can it be free and fair when Hindus will be so much traumatized they will not even vote because they are afraid of voting there? And second thing is, how can be it inclusive when Awami League, which have a base of almost 25%, not able to participate in the election because they are banned. So therefore, the point today is the way the situation is going from bad to worse, radicalization full swing, ISI is having increased their footprint. Enough is enough. India has to be much more aggressive in diplomacy. If we cannot allow what's happening in Bangladesh now to keep on going, because it is going to affect the Hindus there. It is going to affect our election. I agree that we are waiting for that when the election take place, new government come, possibly BNP may come. We will try to improve the relation, because Bangladesh cannot remain isolated, because they know it. They are called India law country. 95% of their land border is with India. They are totally dependent on textile, raw material, food, water, and other material. But all said and done, what happened till then? The way the Hindus and other minorities are being traumatized, and they've been killed, and the women have been raped. We cannot be a mute spectator. We have to do something. Now, if we expect the world to, raise the voice, possibly not. No one is raising the voice. United Nations is quiet. US, of course, was involved. Its deep state was involved, which has been done what has been done in Bangladesh. So I suppose we have to take initiative. We have to give them a warning and tell them this is enough. Enough is enough. We will not allow. I suppose some type of this thing.
Okay.
Maybe
I'm afraid we've run
diplomatic.
totally out of time. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this discussion. Let's slip into a very short break.